Now this technique for the handstand push-up is really good if you've got some strength already, but your balance maybe isn't so good. You could do it up against the wall, so I could do it this way, and then use the wall if I need to, and then try and come back down through that eccentric, but we're really focusing on the bottom up. I could do the same from the handstand push-up, there, and then push up to my handstand, whoop. So if my balance isn't great, use the wall over there, but basically we're just pushing up from that bottom position, and I'm gonna go through different variations of that today. Now for each of these variations, I could use a little bit of momentum that's gonna help me. So this shows it quite well. So the crow to handstand. So I'm back in this position, my hip is down low, my shoulders are up high. If I come into the position, take the shoulders down, hip up, I can nearly catapult myself up into a handstand. Same on the way down, bring the shoulders up, hips down. I could do exactly the same thing, but use no momentum, which is way harder from a balance and a strength point of view. But the cool thing is, you can then just slowly go towards the second version if you have that first version. Now the crow is normally seen as knees directly on top of the elbows. So it looks like this position. So that would be seen as crow to handstand. The frog version is normally seen as knees this way, elbows this way. So I'm more like that in the position, less like that. Now that will tend to have a lower hip position. So if I frog more, it's there. If I crow more, it's there. Pros and cons, and I recommend that you train both of them. So this is the frog version, fast to start with. Then the slow version, let's show the wall version for this one. So same setup, knees on the outside. And then I use the wall if I need to at the top. So we've got crow, frog, then we can go to headstand. Now with the headstand version, there's a little bit of different degrees in terms of how much weight I have in my hands, how much weight I have in the head. So if we go more CrossFit style, you have more weight in the head, and now I use a kip to pop me out of that position. Now, that one can be much easier for repetitions, but it gets very sketchy at the top. So if you're gonna use the wall all the time, you could use that, but I prefer to do this version. So instead of having all the weight in the head, I come back slightly, so watch the angle change, more weight goes in my hands, and then from there, I push up. Now, I'm not really using any momentum or any kip with that one. You can do, I could go to this position and pop up, but I actually prefer the slower version if you can do it. We could do the same from a kneeling position. So the kneeling position is similar to the crow or the frog position in terms of my hip is low, my shoulders are high. And then as I take the shoulders down, the hips come up, bend the arms, go from there, push up. Same thing on the way back down. So I'm getting help from that momentum, but also the legs opening from a tuck to a straight position. If I do it slower, it takes that out completely, it makes it much, much harder. Same idea, but from the squat, shoulders come down, hips come up. That's probably a little bit easier than the kneeling version because I get more of a momentum or turnover of the hips changing. I could do it slower. Then we have the exercise that I recommend everyone's doing no matter what the level is, from beginner through to advanced. Get super comfortable in the shoulder stand position. So you'd start with the tuck version, which is easier from a shoulder stand point of view and a handstand push-up because I can pop up to my handstand using that little bit of momentum from the legs and then come back down through the eccentric. And then the much harder variation, which is straight body shoulder stand, so harder to hold that shoulder stand position and then harder to push strict up to handstand. And then we have what's seen as the hardest variation, so that would be the bottom of the handstand push-up. Now this is tricky because it's sort of in the middle ground. I'm not all the way down on a shoulder stand, I'm just hovering in this position with the head just off the floor, and then I can push up to handstand. Once you get a sweet spot, it's not actually too bad, but learning that sweet spot is challenging, and this doesn't really help you that much. It might kick you out the bottom, but from a balance point of view, it's just as hard, if not harder, than the straight body version. So let me know if I've missed any. If you're interested in making your handstand push-ups stronger, check out my app. Reach out if you're after coaching, and I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys.